Ready to keep the conversation going now with Robert Bianchi, a former prosecutor and criminal trial attorney and host of the Law and Crime Network. All right, this is the first case, as this jury is getting those very important instructions from the judge, the first time a jury is considering whether a parent can be charged for their child's mass shooting. We've never seen this happen before in the United States, so it is a precedent potentially setting case. This jury has a lot of work to do. How do you think they're going to go through this?
Well, like you said, it's precedent setting, and as a former homicide prosecutor and a person who ran a prosecutor's office, I'm very queasy about this prosecution based upon the facts here. So what they're essentially doing, just to make sure we have it down in a nutshell, is they're saying that the parents should be held responsible because that they were grossly negligent, that it was egregious, that they knew or should have known that this was the potential outcome. Now, typically speaking, we only penalize people criminally for their actions, not the actions of another person. And so on the quality of this evidence, it didn't seem to me, if I were evaluating it, that it would be clear, that it would be foreseeable that he would commit a mass murder. In fact, I think the evidence would suggest, by the fact that they kept him in the school, they didn't call law enforcement, that even the school officials didn't believe that he represented a danger to himself or the community. So in my mind, this is not the case factually to bring on this theory. Now, if you were to argue that he said, that son
that
said,
I'm going to do this.
That I'm going to do this, and they went and they got him a gun, you're at a much closer level of the parent's connection to the actual crime itself. Last point here, is this what we're going to be asking? Parents are going to be held responsible for all of the actions that their children create that may not have anywhere been in the orbit? Because in my mind, my argument is the defense lawyer, and the defense's summation was a little kind of rambling a little bit here, was that there was no way this was foreseeable. In fact, most people who have mental illness do not commit mass murder. So we'll see what the jury does. They've got a lot of work to do, a lot of pressure, because there are 4 dead people.
Right. And, you imagine these are people, as is every jury, from the community. There are certainly parents on this jury. So when you start thinking about what they're going through in their head, they have to look at the evidence. But what you know as a person that lives your everyday life would be very, very hard for a parent to say, gosh, could I know that my kid is going to do this? But there is some evidence that prosecutors have brought forward that was pretty strong in some of these cases, like the text messages back and forth where she says, Ethan, don't do it. I do want to ask you about Jennifer Crumbley, because she took the stand, and we almost never see this in a case where someone's charged with involuntary manslaughter, or when someone's certainly charged with something stronger. Do you think that she helped her case or hurt her case?
Well, this is the $1 million thing. My teachers used to teach me, and now I teach people, that jurors love to convict from the mouth of the defendant themselves. It could be the most persuasive evidence. But by the same token, if that jury is going to say that she convinced them that there would be no way I possibly would have known that this would have been the outcome by us giving him a gun as a gift, and that he would have taken that gun and killed those people, if they resonate with her and say, and put themselves in her position to say, gosh, is this something that I would want to be accused of if something, God forbid, happened in my world, then I think she helped herself out. But you can't overlook something that you said earlier on. There's a lot of community pressure. There's 4 dead children, and you wonder whether the emotion of that is going to overwhelm the legal principles here, because if there's a conviction, prosecutors throughout this country, trust me when I tell you, are going to start now extending all sorts of liability to parents for crimes their kids commit.
It is truly a fascinating case, and I liked how you broke it down, that they were not directly involved, and it's the thought process, and usually you don't get convicted on something that's a thought process, what you did or didn't know. It's what you actually did, the actions you took. We will be watching this very closely. I think they're still getting jury instructions, which, as you know, are really important for the jury to listen to. We will be back when we find out what else is happening in court. Thank you so much, Robert Bianchi, for coming on. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.